You're right, I'm certainly not following my rules for significant figures. Okay, number 11, here we go. Draw a course of 118. Now, I've clued you in, this is a compass. So we measure our angles a little bit differently. Remember this? How do we measure these angles? This is 0.
Oh.
And on a compass, that's 0. Not in real math. In real math, the labels are these. This is the labeling system you're going to use for most of your problems. But when we're talking about a compass, that's 0, 90, 180, 270. I can't help it, guys. It's just the way it is. Now, somewhere on there, we're going to put 118. It's that easy. Where's 118?
Third quadrant.
118 is going to be about right here, right? So here's what you have to do. That is all you have to do. That's it. The question on the test is exactly like that. There's no more to it, but that's what you need to do to get credit for that question. Easy. Easy, easy, easy. All right. Now we're going to do this problem twice. We're going to do it once without our calculator and once with our calculator. Doesn't matter which one you do first. You have to do it both ways. All right? So we just did these the other day. Do you remember how to start? We draw a picture of the parentheses. So whatever is in the parentheses, we're going to draw a picture of. So we've got our angle, and the tangent is 2/5. Does that labeling look appropriate to everybody? Every time we do one of these, this kind, other kinds, when we have a picture like that and there's a missing side, what do we do always? Pythagorean Theorem to find the missing side. So what would it be? Square root of 29. 5 squared plus 2 squared. So we draw a picture of the parentheses. Done. Now, what do I want to know? This is the question right here. What do I want to know about that picture? What's the sign? Well, the angle is always at the origin, so the sign would be 2 over root 29, or 2 root 29 over 29. That is called the exact answer. Okay, that's the no calculator answer. Now, I'm just going to type that in. Please don't make it hard. Type sine, second tangent, 2/5. You don't have to type in parentheses, you don't have to do anything. Sine, second tangent, 2/5. And with the calculator, we get 3714. Now on test day, you can check your answer here. Because if I type in 2 divided by root 29, what should happen? I should get that, right? So let's try it. 2 divided by the square root of 29. Oh my gosh, I did, didn't I? Now on test day, if that doesn't match, then that means you made a mistake. So go back and redo that and try to get it right.
So like on the problem, do you want us to like doing it both ways?
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, just like it does here, find the exact value and the decimal value. Okay, now there are 5 here. If the test doesn't have 5 word problems, it has fewer than that, but 5 is good to practice a little bit extra here. Here we go. And remember, for our word problems, we always have a picture that looks like this, right? So you can go ahead and draw that. You're going to have that every time. Not in the next chapter. In the next chapter, they're going to get a little bit more interesting. But these we're going to have our right triangle with our tree or our building or our flagpole or something. So here we go. A squirrel is sitting in the top of a tree. that's 76 feet tall. He is looking at a nut on the ground. His angle of depression is 37.8. No one should be confused. That's where we put our angles, right? Find the distance from the nut to the base of the tree. Where's X? Matthew? That's right. There's the base of the tree. There's the nut. There's X. If I wanted this, what would it say? Find the distance from the nut to the squirrel. Sometimes it says that. All right, need an equation. Sine, cosine, or tangent? What? Tan. Absolutely. How do we know it's tan? Opposite and adjacent. That's right. Hypotenuse isn't involved, so you're going to use tangent. 76 over x. This is just like the one we did a minute ago. We'll multiply by x and then divide. So 76 over tan 37.8. Type it in. This one says round to the nearest hundredth. So that would be 97.98. And you gotta put a unit on it, it would be feet. For your word problems, you gotta have a unit. Good? Okay. A seagull on top of a lighthouse spots a fish in the water below. The gull is 78 feet above sea level, and he is 320 feet from the fish. Hypotenuse, 320 feet from the fish. Find the angle. It's a sine problem. Sine x. Remember, you always put the angle with a sign. So it's sine x equals 78 over 320. Now, what did I tell you? Every time x is the question, or excuse me, the angle is the question, you're going to have to second. So second sine 78 3/20.
Why do you do second again?
That's the only way to find an angle. It's the only way to find an angle. Second sine 78 divided by 3/20. I got 14.11 degrees.
Yep.
Your unit is degrees. You're finding an angle. Need a unit. Degrees.
Where did
14.11. Second sine 78 over 320. Now we have an airplane and we have an airport. The airplane is 6,543 feet above the ground. The angle of depression is 23 degrees. Yep, that's your angle. What do I want to know? How far is the plane from the airport? I want to know the hypotenuse. It's going to be another sine question. So sine 23, 6543 over x. Everybody with me? How do I solve it? Let's not be lazy. Multiply by x. And then divide. If we don't do that in 2 steps, and we try to be tricky and fast, we often divide the wrong things in the wrong order. So try to take your time. Okay, I got a big number, 16745.53, and the unit is feet. the words are different, but aren't these problems pretty much all the same? We should be getting the hang of it here. 2 more. Alright, so find the height of a flagpole that makes a shadow 31 feet long, right? Shadow on the ground. When the angle of elevation of the sun is 29 degrees. Tangent.
29.
Tan 29 equals x over 31. Did you say divide?
No, multiply,
There we
sorry.
go. 31 tan 29. $17.18, and that would be feet. What is the angle of elevation of a man looking at the top of a building that is 84 feet tall if he is standing 1, 2, 3, 4 feet from it? Where do I put the 1,234?
Adjacent?
Right here, that's right. Here's the man, here's the building. This is how far he's standing from the building,
Tangent.
right? So equation,
No.
tan x. Uh-oh, I'm gonna have to second tan, that's exactly right. This is gonna be a second tan problem. It's always a second problem when you are looking for the angle. So second tangent 84 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you get 3.89 degrees?
Yep.
That's a tiny little angle. Of course, he is standing a long way from the building, right? Like at the movie theater, the closer you are to the screen, the bigger your angle is, right? He's way far back, so his angle's not very big. All right, practice test 1, done. Does it feel manageable? I hope so. All right, let's start over again.
So only 2 pages front and back.
We did the no calculator part yesterday. Yes, it's 2 pages front and back. Yep, yep. 2 page. Yeah, you'll get a white page and you get a yellow page. Yep. All right. So here we go. Change into degrees. 7 pi over 10. How do we change that into degrees?
180 divided by 10.
180 divided by 10. We think of that as 180.
18.
So 180 divided by 10 is
18.
18. And I have 7 18s, 126.
Yeah.
200 degrees, how many radians? We know pi is 180, so x is what, right? So that got a proportion. Did it feel like an Arctic blast just flew into this room?
I had to put back on my jacket.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm getting sorry, I feel little goosebumps there. All right, so here we go. 180x equals 200 pi. And again, I am not going to risk messing this up by trying to do it in my head. I'm going to write down my work. So x equals, those cancel. Now we get 20 over 18, but that reduces further to 10 pi over 9. You will lose little fractional points if you don't reduce. So look at your answer, take a minute and reduce. All right, next we have our arc length problem. And I think I told you yesterday, I'm not giving you a picture. It's going to look just like this. So you're gonna wanna remember that when you're dealing with arc length, you're dealing with a situation like this. This is the arc length right here. And we have to find the measure of that arc if the angle is 100 degrees and the radius is 8.
Radius times radius.
So I'm hearing different things, both good. The formula is radius times radians. So you aren't going to be done with this problem until you do that. We know the radius is 8. We do not know that. So we'll have to take that 100 and do that. So pi is 180. What is 100? So I've got 10 pi over 18, which is 5 pi over 9. And that's what goes here. And when I multiply them, straight across, regular fractions. So my final answer would be 40 pi over 9. And since the radius was in feet, this answer will be in feet. Everybody good? Jordan, you feeling pretty good about this?
Yeah.
Good. Now the next one is the one that has a ton of parts to it. So we gotta find sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. And one of those they should have given me. They told me the sine was 2/5, which means the cosecant is 5/2. What does this do for me?
Angle is greater than 90. It's between 90 and 180.
Okay, so if it's between 90 and 180, remember we're going back to our regular math labeling system. If it's between 90 and 180, then it must be in quadrant 2. And the sine is 2/5. So we talked about this a minute ago. Every time we have that situation, we do the Pythagorean Theorem and find the missing side. Be careful. Those are the same numbers we had last time, but they're in different spots, which changes it up. So what's it going to be? Square root of 21?
Yes.
Negative though.
And you're right. It should be negative. There is so much to remember. But another thing to remember is if you're not in quadrant 1, please put a negative somewhere. All right, here we go. What's cosine?
Negative.
Which means my secant is -5 over root 21.
Yep.
Did y'all rationalize? What's my tangent?
2 root 21 will be negative root 21.
Yep. And my cotangent, negative root 21 over 2. Any issues there? Here we go. Cotangent 300. Oh my goodness, sine negative 420. What the heck's that about? All right, here we go. Let's do these two. Cotangent 300. First thing I do is draw a picture of that, right? Where is 300? Fourth quadrant. Very good. It's right here. This is 300. There's my triangle. Now what do I need to figure out?
The angle is 30. Well, 60, my bad.
The angle 60. I
I
was
just
about
found
ready to
it
come
270.
unglued because some of us are making this way harder than it is. That is 300 and this is 360. Right? So what's between? How many degrees between 300 and 360? 60. That means this is a root 3, this is a 1, and this is a 2.
Won't the root 3 be negative
The
since
root
it's
3 would be negative. Very good, Max. Now I'm doing cotangent, yep, adjacent over opposite. So adjacent over opposite would be 1 over negative root 3.
Yeah, which would be negative root 3 over root 3.
Perfect. There's your answer. Chloe, did you follow all that? Not hard, but there's a lot there. Now, look at this guy. What is going on here? First of all, it's negative. Negative means that instead of going up and around, we go down and around. So this is negative 90, negative 180, negative 270, negative 360. Now, but that's negative 420. That's more than once around. So if I went all the way around, now I'm back to here again. How much more would I have to go? How much? No, it wouldn't be 90. An extra 60. But it's negative 60. So I'm actually coming down here like this. Because if I go all the way around, that's 360. Then I got 60 more to get my 420. So I think it's the same triangle. Isn't that the same triangle?
Yep.
Only this time I want the sine. Opposite over hypotenuse. Negative root 3 over 2. Two things to remember there. If the angle's bigger than 360, you gotta go around and throw it out and see how much extra you go. And if it's negative, you go down instead of up and around. Now on the test, this question is going to say 2 answers next to it. This is the one that has 2 answers. So what we need to do is figure out where are these 2 answers going to be. Okay, so one of the things I'm thinking is that's a positive number. Well, I am looking for an angle. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna look for it. 2 places, which quadrants. Now, sine is y over r. She says it's positive. Where is y positive? If you started plotting points, the y would be positive here, and the y would be positive here. That is where y is positive. Now, according to the problem, opposite is 1 and hypotenuse is root 2. You should recognize that. How big is that angle? 45. They're both 45. This purple angle right here is one of your answers. So one of your answers is 45 degrees. This red angle is your other answer. It is not 45 degrees. It's 135. It's 180 minus 45, so it's 135 degrees. So the two answers to the problem are 45 and 135.
You write that as in like 135 and 45,
Uh-huh.
or 135 or 45?
It doesn't matter to me. All right. Now the test actually only has one of these on it, but for extra practice, we're going to do two. So this has two answers. It'll say right next to it, there's two answers. So yes, so the first thing you noted is, okay, now I'm dealing with a negative. Now the second thing you should note is you're dealing with cosine, which is x over r. So where is x negative? So you just start thinking about your quadrants as you're plotting points. Where would the x part be negative? 2 and 3. According to the problem, adjacent is -1 and hypotenuse is 2. You should recognize the triangle. This would be √3, so that's a 60. Now, remember these diagonal lines you drew, the hypotenuses, those are the angles. So there's your angle right there. It's 120. 180 minus 60, it's 120. So your first answer is 120. The second one is this purple one, which is all the way around to here now, which would be 180 plus 60, which is 240. See if we can get this page done. Okay, now the next one does not have two answers. I will mark them if they have two answers, otherwise they're only going to have one. So we work on the tangent of 7 pi over 4. So hopefully the first thing you're going to do is figure out what 7 pi over 4 is. Pi is 180. Divided by 4 is 45. So I have 7 45s. 315. Regular old labeling. So this is 270, this is 360. So 315 would be right there. Butterfly bow tie. How big's the angle between 315 and 360? 45. 1, 1, √2. Negative. Tangent. Opposite over adjacent. -1. All that work and we got -1. Matthew, what do you think about this next one here? Yeah. So I do 180 divided by 2, that's 90, and then times 3 is 270. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Yeah, it's a straight line. Isn't 270 right here, kids? So what do we do differently if the point is on one of those straight lines?
Do X, Y, R.
We do X, Y, R.
R is 1.
We do X, Y, R. And we're gonna let R be 1. So if if R is 1, then what would be the coordinates of this point right here? 0, negative 1. Kids, I can't help you. That you gotta know that's 0, negative 1. You're going down one step. 0, negative 1. So X is 0, Y is negative 1.
And then you just do cosine after that.
And we remember cosine is X over R. So X over R would be 0 over 1, which is 0. Those are the ones that sometimes we get undefineds on, remember? Once in a while, something comes out undefined. All right, let's put our thinking caps on. I know that these are the SIGNs of X and Y in the different quadrants, right? That's going to help me, because in this problem, I need cosine to be negative. Now wait a minute. What's the definition of cosine again? Cosine is X over R. So we need X to be negative. If cosine is negative, X is negative.
2 and 3.
Okay, so that narrows it down to either here or here, right?
It's 2.
Now we need cosecant to be positive. Now, cosecant is the reciprocal of, okay, this means positive. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. Sine is Y over R, so I need Y to be positive. So you've already narrowed it down, you're here or here. If Y has to be positive, you must be in quadrant 2. Cosine goes with X, X over R. Sine goes with Y, Y over R. So the positives and the negatives are going to match up with that. All right, let's get a graph done here, one graph. So we're going to sketch negative tangent 1/2 X. So here we go. Tangent, asymptote, asymptote, dot at the origin.
It's 45.
It's going down because of the negative, right?
Yes.
The normal labels are negative 90 to 90.
Negative 45.
But they're divided by
2.
1/2, which multiplied by 2, so they're negative 180 to 180. My amplitude is none, and my period is 360 degrees. All right. So we'll review again. Actually, we might have